Welcome back to the Birdhouse Mock Draft Monday 6.0 on the Dynasty Rewind. We've got Fantasy Nerd Boy Mike Lamoureux in the house again tonight, and we are ready to talk some rookies, talk the free agent signings, how they may have affected the landing spots for these rookies, and just give you some insight on these rookies in general. We also have March Madness coming up, and just so you're aware, I'll post it in the comments afterwards, but you can win a free roster review from the Birdhouse, and just sign up for that. 3 max entries per person, but free roster review coming your way if you can.
Hold on a second. What am I going to get? I'm going to do this. I'm going to send it to you. Hold on. What do I get over here? I get a...
Now, you're probably a UConn fan. You aren't going to win.
UConn fan, dude. Get out of here. Oh, my God. This guy thinks I'm a UConn fan. Are you fucking kidding me, guy? Oh, I hate UConn, dude. Oh,
awesome. I love it.
I'm a UMass fan, dude. I haven't seen the light of day and since Marcus Camby was on the team.
Yeah, you got a Camby jersey hanging out? I mean, those were
but I see him all the time. He lives in Springfield. Yeah, we got that thing stripped, though. That wasn't even a good Final Four appearance. They got that taken away because Calipari was dishing out money to everybody, buying Camby, watches and stuff, and now they can do that wherever they want. And I want the Final Four appearance back, dude. That's all we got. That's our claim to fame.
I still recognize it as a Final Four appearance because the 90s were my heyday, man. I was watching college basketball every single night. West Coast.
I mean, that was prime. There was like, UConn was good. UMass was good. It was the Eastern.
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole East was good at basketball. Temple was good.
Wisconsin. We had Finley and Rashard Griffith. I mean, that was fun times.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can check that out in the comments afterwards. We'll remind you again. But back to the NFL and our rookie mock drafts. So tonight, we're going to have Nerd Boy started off at the 101. So we probably know who he's going to take, but Mike, what are your thoughts? We had a couple of running backs get signed to some of the possible landing spots that Jeremiah Love could have gone to, such as Kansas City. They got Kenneth Walker. The Saints signed Travis Etienne. What are you thinking, Jeremiah Love, in the first round now? What are your favorite landing spots, or where do you think he's going to end up?
The writing's on the wall where it's Tennessee or New York at this point. I think that the Giants are going to take him if he's there. I think the Cam Scatterbo stands are going to be in shambles at this point, but you want to hope that he at least has a role where Cam is change of pace and he gets, upwards of 10 to 12 carries a game somehow. And then Jeremiah Love is looking at obviously the workhorse role where he's 20 carries, and they both could coexist at that point. And I think that they could both have dynasty value. Like we saw, Tyler Algier exist with Bijan Robinson, and he's not even close to what Cam Scatterbo is. So I think that there's a likely possibility that he's going to the Giants, and they're going to have to figure out a way to use both guys once Cam Scatterbo is fully healthy. But I'm fine with that. I mean, it's Jeremiah Love, ride or die at that point. And then if he falls to Tennessee, if he goes to Tennessee's before the Giants, I think that we're looking at probably Pollard getting moved, or, I can't imagine that they're going to roll with Love, Pollard, and Spears over there. But Spears is rarely healthy for an extended period of time, so they might just want to do that at that point. I don't know. I mean, the NFL is a different beast nowadays. You don't see these guys going into a workhorse role immediately right away. I mean, even when Gibbs was drafted into the backfield with Montgomery, who was 3 years younger now. I mean, that was a considered a death kiss for Gibbs. A lot of people saw it as a, going to hit his value up and kind of a really bad landing spot. But obviously, halfway through his rookie year, that didn't show any truth to it whatsoever. So I'm going, I already have love. Never mind. I don't have to keep talking about it. I got love first. Nice.
So you mentioned Scattaboo. What now the Titans are ahead of the Giants, so I kind of think that's where he's going, is to Tennessee. But what are you willing to get out of Scattaboo for right now? Are you panic selling, or is the Giants offense good enough that Scattaboo still could get in the end zone 7 or 8 times? What are you thinking?
I mean, I think he still has good value. At this point, I'm not going to trade for him by any means, but if he becomes a very cheap option as far as, giving away like a mid to late second for him somehow, some way, if that's what his value becomes, I'm in on that. I don't know if people are going to panic sell on. 203. Yeah, I'll take Scattaboo for 203. Yeah. I think we're going to get into this draft. I don't know though. I mean, there's still value in 203 in this draft, and we're going to talk about that once we get there. But even then, if you need a running back, you're not going to find a running back of Cam Scattaboo's talent after maybe the 3rd running back of this class, I think, as a whole. And I think he's still going to coexist with Love no matter what. So it's tough, man. But I mean, I still have a lot of faith in Scattaboo as far as somebody that could still see back end RB2 value even with Love there.
Sure. Yeah, running back is light, and we're not adding a ton of running backs this year. So Scattaboo, I mean, are you what rookie running backs would you have ranked ahead of Scattaboo? Put it that way.
It's hard, man. I mean, these landing spots are really key. Yeah. As far as like a prospect profile goes, I would probably take, obviously Love. I would take, I think I would take Price over Scattaboo. I mean, we have to remember that Scattaboo wasn't even a really like top tier prospect coming out of college. Right. He fell all the way to the 4th round, I believe, in the NFL draft, and he was taken behind guys like Bashal Tuin, I believe. And then obviously RG Harvey went over him and different players that I think, I just don't think that he was a set and forget it prospect at that point. So if we're going to compare prospects, I would take Emmett Johnson over him. I would take, Coleman over him. I think that's probably like Katron Allen is where you want to draw the line. And I think that's where the tough decision comes.
That's fair.
Katron Allen or Cam Scattaboo. They're very similar players, to be honest with you. They're actually like they have a lot of the same skill set at that point. I think Cam has a better pass catching ability. So I think that's probably where I'm going to go there. But
yes. Yeah. Cam was definitely living and dying on the gamer in him, and I think about half the league probably wasn't buying it, but the few that were, unfortunately for the Giants, they were in on it, and apparently he's out there running already at 75%, so he's gearing up for a week one return.
I think he was a steal in the draft last year, obviously.
For sure.
In the NFL draft and then in rookie drafts too, people got him in the mid-second last year.
Right.
Absolutely perfect player to get. And this is just the situation where the Giants can't pass up on Jeremiah Love. If he's there, he's there. You got to take him. He's a generational prospect in the sense that, I don't know. I don't like to use generational, but he is as close to set and forget it running back as you can get, and it's hard to pass up on somebody like that. No matter what your team build is, it's like taking Gentry to the Raiders last year. You just take them, and you figure out the team after that. The Giants are in a way better spot than the Raiders were last year, so I think that makes sense for them for sure.
speaking of the Raiders, I am going to roll with Fernando Mendoza at the 102. No surprise there either. Now we've got a question from Joel Gray. There it is. All right. Very strong at wide receiver, and I have the 104. No second. Could you use help at QB and depth at running back? Who would you target with the 104? Well, you said you could use help at quarterback and depth at running back. Depending on who your quarterbacks are, I mean, are you shopping that 104 for quarterback help? I mean, I can name a couple.
Go send the 104 for Cam Ward right now. Go see if you can get Cam Ward for the 104. See what happens.
Cam Ward, Brock
when you
Purdy.
make a trade like this, you got to look at the other team. You know, like you can't just throw out players haphazardly. When you make a trade, you have to look at the team you're trading with. You know, when you're doing a dynasty trade, you look at all the teams that need something. 104 is probably a wide receiver at that point. Go look at all the teams that don't have a good wide receiver core. Look at the teams that are really weak at wide receiver and then see what their quarterback situation is. If they have a good quarterback, then, you know, I mean, fire away 104 for one of them. If they have 4 quarterbacks, that's your target right there. You can't just say, I'm going to go trade for this player X, Y, and Z when you don't know what the team has or what the team needs. Because if you're just firing away at certain players without looking at what the team has, they're not going to trade you Cam Ward if that's their QB2 on the team for the 104 where a quarterback's not going to be. So go look at your team, go look at your league, and then you can figure out where you're going to trade.
Yes. And one free resource is Dynasty Daddy that will help set up your league for you and show you the strengths of your team as well as the other teams in your league. So then you could see which are the top 3 teams at the quarterback position. Then you can identify, you know, and are they weak at wide receiver? That's a perfect trade partner. That's the way you get trades done. Exactly. So we'll get to that 104 pick right after Mike gives us his top wide receiver here at the 103. Who are you favoring right now? No landing spot. We're just going straight talent tonight.
Give me Mekhi Lemon at 103.
Going Lemon?
Here. Yes.
And why do you I know we're splitting hairs between these 3 wide receivers, but what particular characteristic about Lemon, Mike? I know you don't have to give a whole spiel about him, but maybe 1 or 2 things about Lemon that sets him apart slightly over Tate and Tyson.
I think that, you know, in a league where in general you're playing in PPR formats, I think that Mekhi Lemon has the highest ceiling of any wide receiver, especially in fantasy. If we're talking about a pure run-of-the-mill best wide receiver this class, it's Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson does have the medical flags. He does have some things that are holding him back a little bit in this class. I just don't think I'm going to burn the 103 on Jordan Tyson right now, even though I think Jordan Tyson's the most complete wide receiver of this class. I have to go with Mekhi Lemon because I think that he's just going to fall right, and he's going to probably be the starting slot of any team that he goes on. The slot feels like the most safe position as far as a wide receiver goes, especially coming in as a rookie. He could probably have an Amon-Ra type of rookie year where he comes on middle of the year and he just becomes a PPR monster. And he's probably getting upwards of 7-8 catches a game. And that's what you want, especially with a rookie wide receiver, even if, you know, that doesn't continue. If they end up adding to the team and this and that, he's already got a role. He's going to have value higher than anybody else in the class. And I think that's what you want to do, is target the guy that's going to rise the fastest in this class.
Absolutely. I'm with you with Lemon. Yeah, he feels like the one out of these 3 that could be a dynasty wide receiver top 5, or most likely to, because of the targets that he can earn. So, yeah, I want to take a shot on that ceiling. But if I'm picking my second favorite, I'm going to go with Carnell Tate. So between Tate and Tyson, I don't know if I'm going off of stuff that's too far back, but like he was a higher rated prospect out of high school, right? Tyson had to fight his way up to this position. Tate was already there and has stayed there this whole time. And so I just think that kind of consistency, fighting off targets at Ohio State. I'm not too worried about wherever he lands, put it that way. Tyson, on the other hand, I'm not so sure if he goes to an ugly landing spot with a bad quarterback. That just could scare me off. And he feels like he has a little bit more bust factor with Tyson than Tate. So again, we're splitting hairs here. And so I don't want to scare you off of Tyson. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying if I'm picking at 4, I would slightly lean Tate over Tyson in this case. So there you have it, Joel. That'd be your answer for me. It'd either be Lemon or Tate. If for whatever reason your league mates pass on Mendoza at 2, and then you're stuck between Mendoza or a wide receiver, well, then you've got possibly your quarterback that you're looking for. But again, it depends on what you mean by you could use help at quarterback. Like, do you already have 2 quarterbacks and you're just looking for your QB3? I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into this because, Mendoza to me doesn't have the highest ceiling or as high of a ceiling as these 3 wide receivers do at their particular position. That's just my thoughts on Mendoza. I think he could be a solid QB2, but I don't know that Mendoza possesses like top 5 dynasty quarterback traits. He doesn't run, right? So that kind of puts him behind the 8 ball right away. I like him jumping into a Kubiak system. But again, the Raiders, they have Genty and Bowers. They might sign somebody else at wide receiver. I don't know if Juwan Jennings is going to end up there. I think he's going to end up in Tennessee, but we'll see. Maybe the Raiders still, I don't know. The Raiders have to figure out that contract with Crosby to see if they can actually sign anybody else. I don't know if they can, but that's where I'm at. Go ahead, Mike. You're at 105, but if you got some thoughts, go ahead. I think you hit mute, Mike, maybe.
I'm already muted. I went on such a tear right there. I just talked. Man. I just dropped all these nuggets of information. I'm going to have to say it all over again. Jordan Tyson for me is a massive discount. I think that we're talking about medical red flags, but the medical red flags, he had a knee in 2022, he had collarbone in 2024, and then he had, it's just a different injury every time. Then he had his hamstring in 25. It's not like he's like the same. It's not like Todd Gurley with his knee, where it's the knee every time. It's like this is a kind of freak injuries at this point because it's not going to be a consistent injury for him. So it's not scaring me that much. And the fact that he is a route versatile guy where he can kind of play all over the field. He's 6'2", he's over 200 pounds. He's bigger than Carnell Tate. He's bigger than Mekhi Lemon. He does have that ability to play on the X. He also has that ability to play out of the slot. He has probably the best route running of the class. When he's selling you a vertical route, you bite on that vertical route and then he just hits the stem. I just think that he has the ability to be the best wide receiver of this class. The only thing that I said is holding him back is the medicals. And, I just think that it's hard to pass up on the value of Jordan Tyson just because he is that guy that is going to be the closest to JSN in this class. He's going to be the guy that is that intermediate route runner, that technician, that guy that can absolutely play all over the field. He's just going to be a big time weapon for any offense. And I'm all the way in on Jordan Tyson at 105. I'm not in on Jordan Tyson before this, but if you're looking at Jordan Tyson 105, the value is too high. The possibility of him becoming a wide receiver 1 I like the outlook. Like I said, he's running 3.44 route. So his route percentage and then his route run per, excuse me, his route. I'm trying to word this the best way. So he's running a 3.44 route run per, and that's at the most elite high percentage that you can get at. As far as the rest of the class goes, he's running almost like 0.44 higher than any wide receiver in this class. So, I mean, he's better than these guys when it comes down to it. It's just we haven't seen enough of this guy to really be confident in taking him over a Lemon or a Tate at this point.
Yeah, I think that's what's just hurting him is Arizona State, right? I mean, Tate played at Ohio State, Lemon's played at USC. They get more national coverage, so that's part of it at least. But if I go back over the years, the few busts that we've had that have been drafted in the first half of the first round, like I can't remember exactly where Treylon went. But you think Tyson is better than Treylon Burks as a prospect?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Treylon Burks was a
I don't know. Were you doing, how about Kevin White or Darius Hayward-Bay? Were you breaking down film?
Way over. I mean, Jordan Tyson from a prospect profile goes like when we're talking about a 2022 rookie breakout before his major injury, he was already at 422 yards with 4 touchdowns, and that's in 9 games. Like he was probably going to get close to 1,000 yards his rookie year. And that's with Colorado. And then, he had 2024 season over 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, like the dude is a set and forget it prospect. As far as skill set goes, the only thing is the medicals. So that's what I'm saying. It's just, you can't, not even close to a Kevin White. He's on the same level as a JSN when it comes to his profile. He's on the same level as a Slim Reaper, as we count him to Mari Cooper. There's guys like Diggs. He plays like Diggs. If you're looking at prime Diggs, that's where he plays. He plays in the intermediate routes, and he works on finesse. He works on absolute skill. He's a smart player. He's not super athletic. And that's the guys that I like. I like the guys that can get separation without depending on their athletic ability. Because if that's all you have, you are Xavier Worthy or you know what I mean? You're some guy that needs to burn you out to actually get it open. Jameson Williams, I think that I want to see the guy that can get open without that speed.
All right. Well, at the 106, I'm contemplating here because it's
and yes, I'm sorry I fumbled that, but yeah, thank you, Matt. It is absolutely yards per route run, and I don't know why I was blanking. This is I'm on hour 2 of.
You were explaining it when you were muted.
I was actually so.
All right, so here's the debate here. It's 0.75 tight end premium, and Sadiq is getting some hype because he ran a fast 40. Now, the rest of his combine was decent. I've always been leery of drafting the tight ends, and it burned me the last year. It didn't burn me so much with Bowers, but last year it kind of did because I kind of faded Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. Now, there were some other good prospects in that range still, so it didn't crush me. But Kenyon Sadiq, I just don't know that I'm all in on him yet. And I mean, a top 15 draft capital, maybe I could be, but I like Concepcion pretty much no matter where he goes. I think he's just got that skill set where he can fit in on just about any team. And I like the fact that he's probably going in the later first, meaning he's going to get probably a better quarterback than the other 3 guys ahead of him as well. Now, I know that San Francisco just signed the washed Christian Kirk, but that could eliminate one landing spot for him. I don't know if the Niners are still thinking Concepcion or not, but there's plenty of teams. I mean, just about every team could draft a wide receiver in the first round. I mean, the way the NFL is today, everybody really needs 3 wide receivers. So throwing Concepcion onto a team that already has 2 good wide receivers just makes your wide receiver room that much tougher to defend. And so, yeah, I'm going to go Concepcion. I don't know. If you're going Sadiq next, fine. But that's where I'm at. I'm still on KCC.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want Concepcion right there. I always have it's not a mantra, but it is. Yes, I don't take tight ends early in rookie drafts. I will always wait on tight ends when it comes to rookie drafts because I think the best value is going to be in the second, third round of most rookie drafts when it comes to tight ends, just because, we're talking about like the Harold Fannons and these guys that are super valuable. And then we had Laporta a couple years before that. And there's just so many guys. I mean, McBride's probably the last. I mean, obviously Bowers and, there's set and forget it guys. But I think you're chasing the Bowers all the time now when it comes to rookie drafts. You're looking for the guy that is going to be an otherworldly starter. And I just think that it's a projection that a lot of guys aren't going to hit, especially when you're talking about, the mid of a first, when I'd rather shoot my shot at a guy that I think is going to get first round capital and probably lands in a perfect situation when it comes to usage. And I think I'm leaning closer to Cooper over Boston nowadays. And people are going to say, well, when did this happen? And it is what it is. I mean, Cooper, I think, has more versatility to his game. And that's just the reality of it. And I think you want to go with somebody that can be versatile when it comes to scheme fit. And I think Boston could definitely be a very good wide receiver. He also could probably be the most likely wide receiver to bust in this class in the first round, to be honest with you, just because he is a primary outside wide receiver that relies on contested catchability. And I think that his route running does need some work. And he does have that Keon Coleman type of vibe to him. And I'm not comping him to Keon Coleman by any means, but I'm saying there is a lot of things that scare me about his profile. And I think that Cooper has that slot usage and he can be on the outside where Denzel Boston can only really work on the outside. He doesn't work out of the slot. So it's really, you're expecting a guy to work as an X immediately. I can't get behind that. I can't get behind a guy getting used to the NFL as a power X right off the bat. It's just tough. It's tough sledding. You're going to be boom or bust, where I think you're going to have a safer floor going for somebody like Cooper in the mid first.
Going Cooper?
Sure. Yeah, going Cooper.
Right. Pump that ADP up here. There we go.
I mean, this ADP is wacky when I'm looking at it. I think that, what do we have? Chris Bell over Cooper. We have
Chris Bell's
over Cooper.
Yeah, he was over Cooper.
Who is taking, hold on a second, who's taking Skylar Bell so high in drafts right now on Sleeper? Why is Skylar Bell way up there? Who is the Skylar Bell fiend that's taking Skylar Bell every rookie draft that they have? Because he's over Jadarian Price, Emmett Johnson. He's over Cooper, Eli Stowers. He's over even Zachariah Branch, Katron Allen. I don't know if I can get behind that. I don't know, man. How there's a lot of people that are even taking
your boy Brazel over Skylar Bell. So
all day. If you have the ability to take, I mean, I think there's just a lot of value. If Skylar Bell and we're talking about Chris Bell, if the Bells are going this high in rookie drafts, I don't know. It's going to adjust. It's going to fix itself eventually, but.
All right. Well, 108, right. I am going to go. I don't know if we're going to get to 3 rounds today. We might. We only have 2 of us, so we might be able to. We'll see. But I'm going to go Denzel Boston. Now, I did find out something that blew my mind last week, and that he actually is not David Boston's son. He's the son of one Chris Boston. However, he still plays a lot like David Boston did. Not quite as bulky, maybe, but that power X, as you talked about while you were speaking on Cooper, yes, again, he's going to need the right situation. It is the type of position that does need 2 to 3 years to develop. So I'm a little leery about it, but I just don't see Sadiq on the level. Definitely not on the level of Bowers. Bowers was a transcendent prospect. Okay. Loveland and Warren were a step below him, but they found good homes. Sadiq, I don't know. Sadiq just a little, I see Evan Ingram when I see Sadiq, and that's not a bad thing. Like, Evan Ingram was a victim of the system, right? He got 1,000 yards his rookie season. He fits a certain mold. And then he got to Jacksonville, and Evan Ingram all of a sudden could play again, right? So I don't know where Sadiq's going. I'm just not betting on that type because, again, I'm going to take this type of wide receiver in the first round of a rookie draft. And like what happened last year with Fannin, I'm trying to think of the other later tight ends, Rondé Gadsden, those types. We even have, Elijah Arroyo still has a shot. I don't know. I mean, he obviously didn't play as well as we had hoped, but you get what I'm getting at. And we have a few tight ends for the later rounds again this year. And I would rather take David Boston and a shot on one of those tight ends later versus doing the other thing and the other way around and taking Sadiq right now and then taking a shot on a third round wide receiver that I think just has a lower hit rate. So I guess that's where I'm at with the hit rates on the positions. And so that's why I'm going David Boston. I think that Boston, he might not put up a huge target number, but first year he could still get a decent amount of tight ends, touchdowns for you. So that's kind of where I'm at. So, and
then you said tight ends. So I think that I'm going to follow it up. I'm going with Sadiq here just because I think that, he is super athletic. He's got that. You know who I'm going to comp him to?
Who you like him as?
Man. I mean, people aren't going to like this.
He played for New England. All ears. I'm willing to hear. I already said Ingram.
He is. He is no longer with us. He took some people with him.
I thought you were going to say O.J. Howard.
No, I don't know why I would say O.J. Howard, but he reminds me a lot of Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
And my man, Aaron Hernandez was the truth on the football field.
For those who watched, Aaron Hernandez
off the football field, you know what? We're not talking. We're not speaking about that. But on the football field, he was a hybrid guy. And that's what I see with Sadiq. I see a hybrid. He's going to line up all over the field. He can definitely be a wide receiver type of – you just want that in fantasy football. You want a guy that can be a wide receiver. I'm not really moved. I know that people have problems with his blocking. I think he's a decent blocker. I just think that he's got too much athleticism to his game to not be on the field and in motion and kind of working out of the backfield, out of the slot. He could be a big slot. I just think there's too much to like about him. And if you're going to get him the back end of the first, I think that's where I'm comfortable getting him. The 2-man rotation for rookie draft is tough. All right. I know I'm yapping too much, but let's fire these babies up. All right. Where are you going?
All right. Because do you want to get through 3 rounds? I'd kind of like to for once. So.
I don't know if I can do 3 rounds, man, okay. But if we just minimal conversation, that'll just be us tapping right now. And then getting to 3 rounds, we would have no words. It would just be like a silent podcast. Right. And we could do that. We could just have a silent film podcast. We could make it black and white, and then we could pop it on YouTube and just say, this is it. This is what you're going to get. It is no words, just actions.
All right. So I am going to play
not a lot of views on that
this time. And I'm going to go Eli Stowers because I do like him, and I like him just about as much as Sadiq. And I know that the boards and all the mocks so far have Stowers going in the second, but it would not shock me if he does end up going in the first round. Basically just as good of a combine as Sadiq, but everybody's just blowing up the 40. And I'm not buying the 40-yard dash for a tight end as the determining factor between these two. Now, I'll admit I did watch Stowers a lot more in college at Vanderbilt than I did Sadiq at Oregon. But one thing I do know is that Sadiq had a lot more drops than Stowers, so that's a little bit concerning to me. Now, drops can be fixed, so I don't want people, I feel like I've been bashing on Sadiq so far tonight, but I don't want people to feel like I hate him. He definitely deserves to be taken by the 109. But if you don't get Sadiq, don't worry. Stowers is more than a better consolation prize if you get Stowers. So I don't know if you have anything to add.
I mean, honestly, Stowers might just jump the shark at this point.
Yeah.
And I could see Stowers jumping Sadiq in some world, especially if he lands right. If he goes to the Broncos or something and Sadiq lands, I don't know where he could land, where it would be awful. But, what if he lands where there's already an established tight end? I mean, what if he goes to the Eagles, some random spot, where it's going to be super messy?
I think
for
last
the first
year,
that
kind of happened last year. I think more people had Tyler Warren going ahead of Loveland, right? I think there was a slight majority.
Yeah, I mean, there was
Loveland jumped him in the draft. So,
Loveland ended up going before him, and obviously landed in a pretty good spot with the Bears. So,
no, I don't.
I mean, not to say I think Warren's going to rise dramatically, especially with Pittman gone. I think that opens up a lot for him for sure. So,
yeah, I don't think either of these two guys are quite as good at prospects as those two were. However, you're still getting something very solid. And for the back end of the first, I like this. I guess I just like him more than the running backs. So that's where I'm at. So where are you at now, Mike?
Well,
you jump on the
I'm going to go for RB2. I'm going to go for Jonah Coleman right here. Jonah Coleman is just a bowling ball. He's a guy that probably could jump on a team and be a workhorse, or at least, share a backfield immediately in the NFL. I just think that he's definitely a goal line short yardage guy to start. And, obviously landing spots really dependent on where we're going to take these running backs, but pure prospect profile goes, I think I'm good taking him over guys like, if we're looking in this range, like a Zachariah Branch or, a Brazil, or, even if you're going to go QB2 and you want to take Ty Simpson or something, I think that I'm more comfortable going with the RB2 in this range.
Yes. And I'm going to follow that up with my next favorite running back. Now, I think they're 2A and 2B for me between Price and Coleman. So it could come down to landing spot. Now, for me, I personally right now, from what I've seen with the free agents, because we did want to talk about that a little bit, but for me, at least, Seattle and Minnesota, I know I mentioned that to you prior to the show. Is there any other landing spot left that you kind of like? Seattle and Minnesota to me are my favorite. I don't know if there's another sneaky spot that you like, Mike. I can't think of any other right now.
There's obviously like different places that one of these guys could go and sit back. The Ravens are always a good spot just because we're talking about Henry. He feels like a vampire, but he's like 31 years old, So like one injury to him, a rookie running back could easily just jump and be like, you got to look at spots where they have a workhorse running back that's aged out. Like even the Eagles, if they take a rookie in the third or fourth round, they're immediately, if he jumps over Tank Bigsby, he's immediately going to be like the top end handcuff in the league, Like if a Katron Allen falls onto the Eagles or something, Saquon Barkley, it is what it is. I'm not going to say that these guys are going to get injured, but they're carrying the ball 20 to 30 times a game. There's more likelihood that these guys get banged up. They get an injury, a knee, an ankle, whatever it might be. One of these rookies can just jump in and be a guy that's carrying the ball 20 times a game because they don't have anybody behind them. They're going to have a Tank Bigsby and a rookie. One of these guys is going to just jump Tank Bigsby and become a very viable starter. So there's definitely sneaky spots where you got to look at the health of running backs. If the Titans pass up on Jeremiah Love for whatever reason, if he's not there, or they just say, we got to take someone else, that's already immediately a great spot because Pollard's up there in age and Tajay Spears is never healthy, nor does he have the skill set to be a workhorse. There's definitely there's some great spots. I mean, it's tough, man, because everything's got to fall right. And unfortunately, people have to either get hurt or, something has to happen for them to really have that big time value. I mean, Omarion Hampton isn't, doing what he does if Najee Harris is on the team. RJ Harvey doesn't have a decent year without Dobbins getting injured. There's a lot of things that have to happen for these guys to hit their first year.
Yeah. And, you mentioned Baltimore. I also bring up San Francisco, right? Certain franchises value the running back position more than others do, right? Jerry Jones has made it obviously clear that he doesn't care much for the running back position, right? Now, he did sign Javonte Williams this time, but in the past few years, he's gone as cheap as possible, right? But the Niners and the Ravens, they're not afraid to take running backs in the top 3 rounds. Just about every year they find somebody. And yes, maybe it's Ty Davis Price, but on the other hand, they grab a Jadarian Price or Jonah Coleman in the 3rd round because they fall there. Then we're looking at because I think either of those two are better than Isaac Orendo, right? Who's sitting as the RB2 currently on the depth chart. Now we don't know if maybe Brian Robinson goes back there, then they wouldn't be looking at a running back, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners grabbed a running back and, possibly one of the top 5 running backs in this class. So just a thought there. And don't be worried if a running back that's talented goes to a team that's got a clouded running back room, I guess is the point. The Seahawks, they did it with Charbonnet, right? They had just drafted Kenneth Walker in the 2nd round. Then the next year, boom, everybody gets pissed because they draft Charbonnet. So anyway. Yeah,
I mean, it's going to happen. And there's certain teams that always do that. They're going to tap a guy in the 2nd round, and I think Seattle's going to tap a guy in the 2nd round. And that's going to be the situation that we see.
Either Coleman or Price.
I mean,
yeah. All right. 201, Mike.
I think I'm up. I'll go Ty Simpson here. I'll just take the stab at a potential 1st round quarterback. I don't have him high in my rankings by any means, but when in the 2nd and you're looking at, a situation where he might be taken in the 1st round by the Steelers, and even if it's a Kenny Pickett, and he starts for 1 year, you still got to go with it. His value's still going to peak a little bit, even if he's a starter, no matter how long he's in the league for.
The Jets got rid of Justin Fields today, so they're opening it up for Ty Simpson, right?
There's soft punting right now. I mean, the positional void is the way to do it. If you don't have a quarterback on your team, it is what it is. So
it could be another Brady
a Nussmeier over there
for the Jets, right?
Could be. I mean,
if Brady Cook starts more than 5 games for the Jets, that could be the best
thing. The Jets
thing in the
finally
world.
have a guy running that organization that knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
And he knows that they're not going to win this year. And he's getting the pieces together, but this isn't the class to get a quarterback. This isn't the class where you're going to get your franchise quarterback. You're not going to get Mendoza. So, you might as well sit back and use this year as whatever. Get a good draft pick for 2027.
Yeah, let their pick get as high as possible. And then they have 2 other firsts next year as well. So they're sitting on 3 firsts next year right now.
Yeah. I mean, go get yourself a Dante Moore or,
yeah,
whatever you want to do. And you'll be all set.
All right. So, this is tough because you took Ty Simpson and I mean, I like Newsmeyer more than him, and so I got to gamble. I don't know if you're going to scoop him on me at 203 or not.
I'm not going another quarterback over here. You can do what you want. Don't worry.
Oh man.
For what it's worth, though, Nussmeier is my quarterback too this class, and I just
I watched your video.
The Jets, it's wheels up, baby. But you got to go with the draft capital at this point. Like if you're gonna go with it, you go with it. You got to go with the guy that's guaranteed a starter.
Right.
This is Tyler Shuck territory.
Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna take a stab on Mike Washington. I'm not sure if he gets drafted on day 2. He might not go until round 4, but as we talked about Scadaboo earlier and Bishul Tootin, Woody Marks, they all went in round 4 last year. Now, I don't think that this year's class is quite as talented as last year's running backs. Not anywhere near, but Washington, if he goes round 4, I'm still in. Like, round 4 is not a bad round to go. Especially look at last year, right? Scadaboo and Tootin went right away on day 3. They slid, so to speak. I think Tootin definitely slid. Scadaboo, I don't know if he was really looked at as a day 2 guy last year, but the Giants got him right away. And so I don't think it's such a bad thing if a guy goes early on day 3. That just means that they got bypassed by a few teams. And so I think that's kind of where I'm feeling Mike Washington ends up going, unless there's a team that really maybe Seattle really likes him, right? And they take him at the end of the 3rd. I don't know. But I think Mike Washington's somebody that could sneak into just about any running back room and surprise, right? Kind of David Johnson-esque. Remember David Johnson, how he came in a crowded Arizona running back room, and boom, after week 3.
David Johnson was always going to be the guy at that point. Yeah. But, what was he, like, sharing the backfield with Kenyon Drake and stuff? Like, I think that was just
right.
It was inevitable, as far as what he was going to do.
But, like, what if Carolina drafts Mike Washington, right? What if Carolina drafted Mike Washington?
Sure. That makes Mike Washington the starter pretty easily for me.
He's the most talented guy in the room, right?
I think so. I think you're going to have to burn a late 2nd, early 3rd on Mike Washington right now. So I think all signs are pointing to Seattle with Mike Washington. Now, I think that if you're going to bet on something, I think that that's really their bread and butter right now, especially with Charbonnet on the shelf for a while. I think Mike Washington's going to fit the mold because he is a pass catching back, and that's what you probably want with that Kubiak offense. So,
yeah, I do not think Seattle's rolling into week 1 with Emmanuel Wilson and George Halani as
not even close, man. No way. If you have anybody believe in that, you got to sell these guys immediately.
They would sign Joe Mixon before they did that.
Yeah, there's so many other guys that are out there that you can probably grab up. Like we're talking about Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson would immediately blow everybody off that roster right there. So the fact that he's still available, I think that's all good. I think that there's no way either one of those guys is going to have value. I mean, that's not to say that I think they don't early season have, a little bump, but it's not going to last long.
All right, Mike, I got I'm going to put this up here because I think we need to explain something here this is important for some people to hear. right? Would you take Sadiq at 102 if you're stacked at wide receiver, including Tesla, Golden, Bryant from last year? Okay, so Tesla, Golden, and Bryant do not make you stacked at wide receiver for one. Okay, depending on the size of your roster, those guys are borderline cuttable. So at least the way I like to run my wide receiver rooms, because I like to run them high end and slim. Like I want maybe one or two wide receivers past the flex. Okay, so I'm talking 6 or 7 wide receivers total on the roster. I don't know if that's how you like to construct your rosters, but I don't like having guys like Tesla, Golden, and Bryant, who I'm literally never wanting to start. Okay, so that's kind of how I'm feeling. Is Sadiq, you draft best player available and then maneuver around later. That's my thoughts on this. What are you thinking?
I mean, I think that when you're in a rookie draft, you don't necessarily reach for players by any means. You're not going to take guys that would never be taken at that range just because that's just not how money's made at that point. You want to maximize it. It's kind of like when you're buying stocks, you don't want to short stack something that is already being bought at an extreme, like you're just not going to buy into something that's already being bought X amount of times. You want to buy in somewhere else. Like, you just don't want to oversaturate something where you're going to be reaching for something and I can't get behind that. You want to trade back. Always trade back in that scenario. If you have a guy that's valued at 105 and you're at 102, trade back to the 105. You want to get future draft capital. I don't really like your wide receivers. If you're thinking that Tesla, Golden, Bryant are the guys that are going to keep you deep and you have depth there, I don't like that at all. I don't mind going off and trading the 102 for the 106 plus, if you can get a future 27 first for that.
Yes.
Go try to get yourself a random 27 first to move back to the 105. The 102 is just too spicy, especially in a super flex league with this Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to overpay for that. They'll move way up for that. And I think any guy that's at the 104, 105, if you want to reach, and I'm looking at it now, you have McConkey, Myers, Downs. It's still not moving me as far as I love McConkey this year. I like Myers. I like Smith. Downs is a question mark at this point. So I think you probably still need a wide receiver, honestly. So I think at 102, you want to move back to the 105. Go try to trade the 102 for the 105 and the 27 first, and then take the best available out of the 3 wide receivers. If it's whoever, Lemon, Tate, Tyson, whoever falls to the 105, you got a future 27 first, and you're set. And you can kind of move and match. And if you want to move off of some of these guys, I would sell Downs high right now. We don't know what the Colts are going to look like. And it's not ideal to just say, okay, they move Pittman, so Downs is going to be a set and forget it wide receiver 1. That's not how it's going to work. We saw Downs without Pittman a lot in the years past. And it's not like the targets went dramatically up for him. He's not that kind of guy. I think that you can definitely move off of him. And the wide receiver situation, I think you want to keep McConkey, Myers, Smith as your guys for next year. And then you want to I wouldn't stress this right now because you can go buy a tight end. You can go buy Njoku for nothing right now. He's not even signed. He's going to fall onto a team. You can buy any guy at this point. You could buy Kittle for a third, I think. I think anybody would be happy to get rid of Kittle if their roster's kind of deteriorating and they don't. I'm not sorry, not Kittle. We could buy Kelsey. Excuse me. Go buy Kelsey for dirt cheap right now. Kittle probably not.
He's fine.
You're not getting for third. But Kelsey, absolutely.
You're fine with Goddard and Ingram. I know that your league just voted for tight end premium, but if it's only a half-point tight end premium, that really doesn't move the needle, honestly. It's got to be at least 0.75 to a full point tight end premium for it really to make a huge difference. That's where you can actually end up flexing some tight ends, and that's where it matters. But you're fine with Goddard. I mean, he just re-signed with the Eagles. Just throw him into your lineup. You're fine with Goddard. Don't go overpaying for Kenyon Sadiq. Like he said, trade back to the 105 range. Get yourself one of the top 3 wide receivers.
I mean, even if you can't trade back, you got to take the best available guy.
Yeah, just take the best wide receiver at 102. I'd rather do that.
If it's super flex, you just take the quarterback, and you're going to trade for need later. Right. You don't have to trade for need now. There's no timetable on when you can fill out your roster. You can trade for need whenever someone else needs something else. Wait for somebody to approach you. Don't just, if you can't trade with anybody, then just sit and hang out. Don't stress filling out your roster right now. You don't need to go and get a tight end at 102. Don't do that.
Yeah. We're
all right, brother. Fire away right now. I think,
we're going off here, but you're 5-6 months away from setting a lineup.
Not even close.
So, all right. 203. Right. Who are you thinking here?
Oh, it's me, 203. Let's go Chris Brazzell, baby. Give me Brazzell.
Brazzell?
Yeah, I like my 6'5" wide receivers. I don't care if he's from Tennessee. He's too spicy not to take right here.
Yeah, I don't hate him now. I watched a little more film on him after you told me that I needed to. And I think he's a little more versatile than I had thought. He wasn't great on screens, but that's probably because I also watched Zach Branch right after him to compare the two.
I mean, he's a 6'5" guy. I mean, I'll be honest. He's probably not going to be playing inside. He's not playing inside very often at that body type. No. It's probably going to be mostly outside. So, all right, let's go rapid fire right now.
Let's go rapid fire. I am going to go with my QB2. You let me have him, so I took Nuss, and he's just a gunslinger. Yeah. If you want to have fun in the second round with a quarterback, I suggest Nussmeier over Simpson. I'm good with that analysis right there. All right, Mike, who do you want at 205?
I guess I'm gonna go with Emmett Johnson right here. I'm gonna go with the guy that I think is probably the best pass catching back outside of Love in this class. And I think that he's gonna have a role in the NFL. Somewhere, somehow, he's gonna produce in the NFL.
All right, I am going to go Elijah Surratt. I've seen him consistently go in the second round. I think that he could get a great landing spot or not, but then he's going to get more opportunity. Like if he goes to the Raiders, right, then he's going to have, his college quarterback there. I just think he's versatile enough that he's not going to be pigeonholed into like, I don't know, Romeo Dobbs-ish, I'm kind of thinking. He's a good wide receiver. I like buying into the strength of the class at this point in the draft versus another running back, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's set and forget it. Surratt, I'm pretty high on. I'm actually doing a rookie profile of Surratt end of the week too, so look out for that. But somebody that I really like in this class. You said versatile. I like Jeremy Bernard right here, so I'll take Jeremy Bernard. I think that he is probably a better Zachariah Branch, a safer Zachariah Branch. And I think he's probably going to get good DC. And he's going to be a weapon, I think, at the line of scrimmage. And I think that we're probably going to see him get drafted higher than we expect in the actual NFL draft.
All right. I'm going to go – you like Brazzell. I'm going to go with Zach Branch. I know you wouldn't take him, but – I think whoever does take him.
I like Zach Branch. I like Zach.
Okay.
He's got to land right though.
Yes,
he's the most landing
takes him
spot
is
dependent
going to
guy.
know what they're getting. The scouts are too smart nowadays. They're going to know what they're getting. He slides in nicely as a wide receiver 3 on a lot of teams now with the McVay offense. He's better than Tutu Atwell, okay, right? And that's the kind of role that he can play. Jaden Reed, I liking him as. Okay. So I think whoever drafts him, they know what they're getting. He's going to get opportunity. We'll see if that means it translates into actual fantasy production or not, though. That's the one thing that
he's got to land right. He's got to fall onto a team that knows how to use him and utilize his skill set. But all right, me next. I'll take Jadarian. Wait, you already took Jadarian Price. Excuse me. I'll take Katron Allen right here.
All right. Katron.
Give me the better running backs from Penn State. The guy that is the bruiser. Yes. He's called the Fat Man. I like him to be profiled as a steady RB2 on a team. I think that he can be the bruiser to a pass catching or an electric agility back, So I'm going to roll the dice on Katron Allen.
All right. I'm going to jump the board here and go Ted Hurst at the 210. I think that he's somebody who is electric, and if he gets the right landing spot, gets some good veteran there that can help teach him how to run routes better, I think if this guy gets in the right landing spot, he could really boom and be potentially a top 5 wide receiver from this class. So I'm in on Hurst.
Like it.
Yes.
All right, man. For my last pick, give me Jacoby Lane. Yeah. So counter guy at USC, obviously, wiry, tall, lanky guy, good contested catch guy, somebody that I think could probably have a role immediately in the NFL if he falls right, just because he has that outside ability, that immediate end zone target that he can be. I think he's 6'3", 6'4". So he's just a tall, lanky guy. He's got long arms, long legs. He's a slender man for sure.
Yes. All right. Last pick here. Well, it's between two guys. I'm going with the strength of the class. I'm going to stick with that. It's between Chris Bell or Malachi Fields for me. I'm going to go Malachi Fields. Again, I've said this before. I think he's just somebody who can walk in the building and play on an NFL field. He can block well. He can do all the little things. So I think that whatever team he does go to is going to fall in love with the guy and have a hard time to keep him off the field. Good deep ball threat. He can track it down well. Had a great Senior Bowl. All those good things so far we've heard. I know his combine was but I'm not too worried about that. And I don't think the NFL teams will be either. I think he still goes day 2. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at on Malachi Fields. All right. So we got through 2. Any other questions in the chat here?
Oh, my God. I was on my computer video the whole time. I just switched to my actual camera, and I'm crispy, baby. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. You guys didn't get to see my beautiful face this whole pod, man. I'm sorry for y'all. I feel bad.
Any thoughts on Cole Payton?
I like Cole Payton. I like Cole Payton, but I don't like him in the second round. I like Cole Payton in the third or the fourth round, to be honest with you. If I'm going to take a stab at a North Dakota guy, I think that it's probably going to be in that third round. I'm not going to reach on him. I think that there's too much juice when it comes to DC over here. I would take him after like a Nussmeier. I'd probably take him before I don't know who was.
You like him over Carson Beck?
Steam out there. I like him over Carson Beck. I like him over Drew Aller too. I like him over.
I'm not a big Drew Aller guy myself, so
QBs. A lot of people like him right now. He's gaining a lot of steam right now, but I'll take him over. I'll take him as my QB 3 or 4, but not in the second round.
What do you think? Quick, what do you think about Baron Morton from Texas Tech? I know Chris Sims just came out with steam too.
Well, you know what? Chris Sims always drops a crazy, like he is engagement central. he is definitely somebody that likes to get a lot of views on his post, and he always has like 2 off, like he'll nail the first couple. Like he'll have,
Right.
Jaden Daniels over the likes of, certain guys, and it looks really good for a year. But
who was the quarterback from
rankings?
Who was the quarterback from? I forget. Was it A&M or Mississippi State? But
I didn't look at the rankings. I don't know.
He had him rated number 2 in the. I think that was the Trevor Lawrence class. Yeah, that was just Kellen Mond. That's who it was. Kellen Mond.
Yeah. He always puts like 2 to 3 names in there that are just absolutely ridiculous,
Yeah, don't buy into Chris Sims. It's shock value, and that's all I got to say about it. Yeah. So, any more thoughts, quick, before we head out of here, Mike, on the free agent signings and how those kind of might have affected our rookie drafts?
Honestly, not really. I think that everything is still falling into place right now, and I don't think that anything that happens is really going to affect how I move in rookie drafts right now. It's the draft, man. Like everything happens, everything falls into place. You can really look into the situation right now and say, I feel good about players. I don't feel good about players, but the top 5 hasn't changed at all. And then everyone else, like outside of the top 5, it's always been like however they land, wherever they go, kind of thing. So nothing's changed for me. Like the running back situation is almost a straight line right now, and the draft is going to tell me everything I need to know. If it's a minuscule minor move, like if guys are going in the same rounds, I'm going to go based off of my talent evaluation, but if there's a dramatic change, like where Mike Washington's in the 2nd round and then Katron Allen's in the 4th round, there's a big jump there, so you have to adjust based off of that. But if everyone's taken in the same round or close to each other, you're going off of your priors. You got to go off of what you saw on tape, what you believe in, so it's everything's up in the air right now. Nothing is concrete.
Yeah. No, I love the point you made earlier about like Mike Washington, and if he goes, there's a number of rooms where he could go, and they may look loaded, but if he comes into that room, like he's immediately possibly the most talented back there, and the team's drafted him for a reason. They're going to get him on the field if he performs well in preseason and shows the team that he deserves to be on the field. Just because he's the most talented doesn't always mean playing time. So those are 2 different things. What do we got here from Fellerm? If anybody makes a move up in the draft to grab their Niners have 4/4 and need to get younger, I can see them moving up a bit. Sure. Yeah, 4/4. You can pretty much guarantee the Niners aren't going to use all of those picks to actually draft someone. John Lynch likes to jump around the board and get his guys. And so, again, like I said earlier, the Niners are known to like their running backs in the drafts. And so I could see them using a couple of those 4ths to move up and get their favorite running back in the 3rd round. Christian McCaffrey doesn't have the best injury history, and don't think we can guarantee another full season out of CMC. And as long as Trent Williams is there, that Niners run game is going to be strong, and you want a part of that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some big moves. I think the Rams are going to move up and take a wide receiver in this class. I think they're at 11 right now. I think they could see them moving up a little bit, maybe taking a Mekhi Lemon or even a Tate, or, even staying pat and maybe getting a Jordan Tyson falling to them at that spot.
Concepcion there.
I think that, Rams. Yeah, I think the Patriots move up surprisingly for the first time ever. And try to get themselves either some O-line help or just, throw it out there and get a wide
Real,
receiver that they really need.
real quick, Mike, what are your
I think
thoughts
that
on Romeo Dobbs?
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs signing there. Where do you see? Do you think that they
You know
want
what?
a guy better than him,
it.
or are they
Yes,
good?
I mean they're still in on AJ Brown. They still want to get an alpha. I think that Romeo Dobbs is probably going to be a wide receiver 2 on that team, and they still want to grab somebody that can be an alpha on that team. I think that Dobbs definitely has a role where he's going to get a lot more targets. He's going to be in a better offense for his skill set, as opposed to being with a group that is all similar to him. Like he was with like 4 similar wide receivers on the Packers, like he's actually a unique talent on the Patriots, like where he's not going to be fighting for the same part of the field. And, he can be with a Kyle Williams, where Kyle Williams is on the outside and Dobbs works in the middle. And I think that it's a better fit for him for sure. I think that he's going to have more output, and he's probably going to be a back end wide receiver 2 in fantasy football this year. I think he's
top 30 finish at wide
anyway.
receiver. Yeah, is definitely in the range.
I could definitely see him in top 30. I could see him, you know what I mean, like getting a solid floor of like 10 points, 12 points per game, with a couple boom games in there. But
yeah, it'll come down to how many touchdowns he actually ends up with, right? Whether he ends up with 5 or 10, that'll probably.
Yeah, it depends on the draft. It depends on where they go. I mean, there's no way that they're going to stand pat and roll out Butte, and I think all they have is Butte and
Butte, Kyle Williams, Matt Collins
Dobbs,
still there,
and I think he might be
under.
I don't think he's under contract actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Matt Collins is a good glue guy, right? He's a good locker room.
He's a good locker room guy, dude. Just goofy, no shoes all the time. Just honestly, I don't know. Yeah, he's vibes for sure. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I guess I'm just the co-host of the show now. I've been on 5-6 weeks in a row. So,
dude, you have great insight on these rookies. I love having you on. I mean, I appreciate you, man. I couldn't think of a better co-host for our mock draft Mondays. You find great analysis with your rookie profiles. Who do you have coming up this week?
I'm actually dropping Jordan Tyson on Wednesday. So Jordan Tyson with Damian Parsons. So Parsons does the Bleacher Report. He is the QB analysis and wide receiver analysis for Bleacher Report. And then he also, man, he does everything, man. He's just a coach, so he coaches at the NFL, well, not the NFL level, but college level. And he's just a good dude that, he does a little bit of everything. And, man, I mean, you got to watch this episode because he gets into things that I'm unaware of, like the levels of route running that he's teaching me stuff. So, it's a really good pod that's going to be out on Wednesday. And then Friday, we're doing Elijah Surratt. So couple different pods. I think that's going to be dropping Saturday, actually. So on Saturday, but yeah. And then obviously, man, I got a couple to make up too, man. I've been so busy, but
understandable. Well, you got some time. Fill out your bracket. Let us know right now who do you got? We got to know before. I mean, next week, Monday. You can't wait until the Sweet 16 and tell us who you're taking.
Oh no, I'm not dropping this yet. No, I don't know. I'm not telling you anything.
All right.
It's only Monday, man. I'll tell you on Wednesday.
All right, sounds good. That works for me.
Thursday right before brackets lock up, so you can't copy me.
All right, be sure to click the link below in the comments. Get in on the possible free roster review from the Birdhouse. We'll help you out. Get your team, get your roster set for now in the middle of the off season. Remember, guys out there, we are still 5-6 months away from actually setting your lineup. So BPA, best player available. That's what we're looking for. And hopefully we helped give you some good, solid advice on these players today. For Fantasy Nerd Boy, I'm the Birdman. Thanks for joining us tonight. And remember to never stop working.